Testimonials are a way of showing agency and authority. That's why a testimonial section is one of the most important, if not the most important section in your website. Unfortunately, many designers struggle with creating a testimonial section that is minimal yet captivating so that a visitor on your website can understand your authority with the least friction possible. So that's why in this video, I'm going to show you how you can create this testimonial section that is minimal and captivating for your website. As always, the remix link for this project will be down below so that you can directly see it and use it if you want. I'm Umar from Umar and Framer, and let's get right into it. Okay, so what I've done here already is I have set up a desktop breakpoint with my testimonial reels section inside this content frame. This is just to have this section displayed on a breakpoint. You don't have to add all these sections. What needs to be focused on is this section right over here, the testimonial reel, as I call it. So this is just this section. You can see its settings on the right hand side. Don't worry about the height. It's fixed at 37 right now, but it would be longer. And yeah, so it's set to layout, distribute, start, and gap is 64. 64 because between the left sidebar and the testimonial card itself, there will be a gap of 64 pixels. So that's that. I've set it up like this. You can copy the settings if you want from the right panel. And now the thing that we need to do is convert this section, this testimonial reel section, into a component. This will be a component because we need interactivity, and interactivity is achieved through framework components. So we'll create this framework component, create component. Let me just call this testimonial reel itself. Okay, so what we want inside is, as you must have seen earlier in the video, is there is a left sidebar which is kind of an introduction to the section itself, right? And it has the arrows as well to navigate in between testimonials. So we will have that on left hand side. On the right hand side, you will have the testimonials being displayed. Now in this section, in this testimonial reel component, you will have the left side or the left sidebar as a constant thing, and on the right hand side where there's a testimonial stuff, the card, whatever, that will keep on changing. So actually what we need to do is create another component inside it that will basically be the testimonial card, which, you know, upon clicking the arrows themselves will like slide between each testimonial. So let's keep this as this is. Let's actually create another frame here. Let's call it testimonial card. Let's remove the fill and let's create this into a component as well. Okay, now this is a separate component. So now this section is going to have two different frames or stacks, basically text on top, which is the testimonial itself, and the customer details at the bottom, which has the customer image and their title. So let us create a stack here. Let us name these as well. But first, let us adjust some settings for this testimonial card itself. Let me give it a decent height, let's say 540. And let's create it into a layout, vertical, distribute, center start. I don't think it really matters, but let's do start. Gap. So the gap here means the gap between the text stack and the bottom customer details stack. So let's say goodbye is 32 for now, and let's keep the other values as they are right now. Let's give it an accessibility tag of div perhaps. But yeah, so this is the testimonial card stack. Inside you'll draw another stack, so pressing F and dragging it out. Let's call this the text. Let's do fill width for this. Layout, so vertical, start again. Let's do align left, just because we want everything to align to the left here. And gap, let's say 24, between the quote icon, the testimonial headline, and then the text itself. Okay, so now let's convert the testimonial card height to fit content. Let's remove the fill for the text content, and let's actually populate this text stack. the first thing we want is the quote icon. So for that, I will go to this plus sign right over here, go to icons. I like phosphor icons, so let's drag a phosphor icon right over here. As you can see, it goes right to the top left because of our alignment. Let's choose quote here. Let's choose an appropriate color for this. Maybe this color is good. Okay, so on the right panel, you can see the settings that I've chosen for this quote mark. Let's keep the size as it is. This is the quote icon. Okay, and the next thing we want is the stack for the text headline, the testimonial headline itself. So let's draw F, fill width, let's remove the fill. Let's call it headline maybe. Headline, let's make it a layout. Let's remove the gap. And inside we will have the headline text. So press T and I'll write something. Let's do headline for now, and then then I will put a placeholder inside. So fill, let's do fill, and then we have to choose some text settings here. Okay, on the right panel you can see that I've chosen some settings for the text. I know you can't see it right now because of the color that I've chosen, but yeah, this is the headline. Okay, and the color that I've chosen is this. Well, I'm not adding any fill color, any background color to this testimonial card because I want it to be defined by the container that this card is placed within. So it will just take the background color of that. And so yeah, I'm going to leave it as that, but do remember that the headline text is right over here. Actually, what we should do is actually make a variable for this headline. So I'll click on this content and create a variable for this headline and just name it as testimonial headline. And yeah, so this will be headline, and so when I place it inside the other component, this will be a variable which I can easily edit right over there. Okay, so the one thing that we gotta do here is actually go back to our testimonial card, actually the text stack, and set its height to fit content so that it fits whatever content's inside it. Now after headline, what we need, let me rename it as headline. Now, after the headline, we need the statement, right? The supporting text underneath the headline. So I'll actually press Command and D for this stack itself and actually edit this. So let's call this statement, and let's call this statement text, the text itself. And I need to edit the text settings for this as well, because of course, right now it is the same size and everything as the headline itself. All right, so this is the settings for the statement text. I've also created a new variable for this statement text, and on the right hand side you can see all the settings, including the fill color. What I also did was just convert the headline stack and the statement stacks, the heights to fit so that they easily fit the heights of these texts. Okay, so now that we have the quote icon, the headline, and the statement itself, now what we want is another stack here inside the testimonial card that is going to hold the customer details, their photo and their title. So let's make that. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw another frame inside this testimonial card, pressing F and dragging it out, placing inside testimonial card. Let's call this customer detail, and let's convert it into a layout first. Vertical, let's left align this as well. Let's do fill width. Height will do fit later. Let's remove the fill for this. Inside, what we want is an ellipse, which will be like the customer photo and then their title text stack. So what we are going to do first here is enter a gap value. Let's do 12 between the ellipse and the customer details. Okay, so inside we are going to draw an ellipse first of all. Let's do F and let's draw this frame. So let's call this frame image, customer image, and let's actually adjust the height and width. We need it to be an ellipse, so we're gonna enter an equal amount. Let's do 48 by 48 and lock it as that. And to make it an ellipse, the best practice is that whatever your height is of the ellipse, of your frame, you take half of it, and that will be your radius to make it a circle. So since it's 48, we're going to go to the radius and we're going to enter 24, and it will be an ellipse. And then we can remove the fill. We can add a fill variable, which is with the image. Let's call it the customer image, which we can fill later on. And this will be the image that we will use for the customer. And let's do fit height for customer details as well. Now what we want to make is the stack for the customer details. So I'm going to do that and paste it underneath the image. Let's call this title, or again, fill width and layout, and let's remove the gap, layout stack, sorry, and let's remove the gap, and let's remove the fill as well. Again, enter T, add some text, some placeholder inside, and let's do this. Let's do fill for this as well, and let's adjust the text settings for this one. Let me quickly do it and then show you. Okay, so these are the text settings that I've chosen for the title. Let me just title here, and we are going to convert this into a variable as well. So let's write title text, and we are going to convert this into, let's set a variable for its content. Content create variable, let's call it title text, and default is title, and go to the title stack, set it to fit height. Okay, so this is basically our testimonial card done. I know that you still can't see the headline text because of the color blending in with the background, but you will see it once it's on top of a contrasting background. Now what we are gonna do is actually place this testimonial card inside our testimonial reel component. So let me show you how we will do that. So I'm inside the testimonial reel component. Here is our testimonial card. I'm going to go and actually paste it inside here. And inside, I'm going to do fit content for the width of the testimonial reel. And it looks something like this. What I'm going to do right now is actually fill in some placeholder text for everything, for the content there is. Okay, so I filled in some details for the first testimonial card that's going to be displayed when the component loads in, and I generated everything with AI. Just took an imaginary SAS as a concept and generated a headline, statement, customer image, and their title as well. I know you can't see the headline, but you will in a little bit. So this is gonna be the first testimonial inside this testimonial reel. Let me actually name it testimonial 1. And what's gonna happen is actually, once we add in the arrows, the interactivity on the left-hand side, we are going to actually create multiple variants of this testimonial reel. Each reel is going to contain different versions of the testimonial card that we just created, with each of them having a different testimonial, and so different content. And so we will slide in between them. So now is the time to create that left-hand sidebar. So again, inside this reel component, I'm gonna click F and drag this out. Now again, as you can see, as I drew this frame, there is a lot of gap between this testimonial card component and this component. This sidebar frame that I've drawn, because earlier we added a 64 pixel gap between these two frames. So I'm gonna call this sidebar, and let's do fill width. Yeah, and also I've done fill width for this testimonial card as well. It's fill width here. Actually, what I kind of want to do is add a balance style to the headline and the statement. So if I add that, let's see if that looks good. It always is a good idea to add balance. Let's add it for now, and let's see if that looks good. So again, back to sidebar. Its width should be fill, and I'll tell you why. Because what we are going to do, actually, let us remove the fill first. Layout, vertical, let's align everything to the left. Let's do start. And gap, sorry, not start, actually it would be space between, because what we're gonna do is actually add a stack on top that is basically an introduction to this section, right? It is gonna have a little eyebrow text that tells you that these are testimonials, stories, or whatever. Then like a little heading that tells you more about how this website presents these testimonials, and then the arrows at the bottom left. So let's do that. Let's do stacks for that. Okay, so let's draw a stack for the top eyebrow text. Fill width, it's going to be fit later on. Let's remove the fill. Let's call this label. Layout 0 and gap 0. Let's add in a text here, T, pressing T. Let's write stories maybe. The stories as default, but let's make it a variable as well. Let's do section label, and default should be stories. And yeah, let's do width, height, and let's do fill width for this. Let's do left align, and let's adjust a couple more other settings here. Okay, so I've just adjusted the text settings for this stories label, the section introduction, whatever this is. And the color that I chose for this one right over here, I've used the same one now for this for the customer title as well. I think that suited it more. So yeah, this is the label, and then we need a stack that is kind of going to introduce this section a bit. What we're gonna do actually is wrap this label in another stack. So I'm gonna do add stack, and I'm gonna call it the text or the sidebar text, because it's gonna contain all the text. And so inside this, I need a gap as well. Let's choose 24. And the supporting text, I'm gonna add a frame inside the sidebar text stack. So that is to vertical, sorry, and line to the left. Let's do fill width for this. Let's remove the fill, and then let's add a text T, add something, I don't care, and we are going to fix it. So frame is going to be fit content, and then this should be left aligned, sorry, fill content, and then left aligned, yes. Let's choose the same text settings for this as we did for the body here. So it's gonna do copy style. Let's go back here. Let's do paste style. Yeah, I guess. And sorry, let's call this, section intro, maybe section intro text. And let's create a let's create a variable for this as well. Yeah, intro, and default should be, okay, so I've chosen this as the default, again generated with AI. This will serve as an intro to the text. So I've kind of edited the intro settings a bit right over here, just to differentiate it a bit more from the text, from the body, from the supporting text itself here. Let me add a balance here as well. Okay, there's already a balance here. So yeah, these are the new intro settings you can see. Next, what I'm gonna do is inside this sidebar, I'm gonna add a stack that is gonna go right at the bottom left. I'm gonna do fill, by the way, for this, fill width. and this is going to contain the arrows. So I'm going to call this section navigation, and the gap is going to be the gap in between the, let's say 16. Now if you notice the gaps, the spacings and everything, I'm kind of doing everything in the multiples of 4, and that's what you want to do in design. Do stuff in the multiples of 4, 8. So 16 the gap, and I'm gonna draw the arrows now. I'm gonna speed run through them, but I'm gonna explain to you how I did it. All right, you see these 2 arrows right over here. What I did was just make simple ellipses, put some feather icons inside it, made it into a component, and left, right. So the right feather arrow for the right arrow and the left for the left one. And then I converted them into a component. I gave them some hover versions where I just adjusted the colors of the arrows a bit and their background colors as well, just to give the arrow some interactivity. And I inserted them back into the testimonial reel component just like this. And yeah, the gap between them, remember, is 16 right now for the navigation stack right over here. And now what I also did set up right over here to show you was I duplicated this testimonial 1, as I now call it, component, into testimonial 2 component. And the difference is that the testimonial card, which I've renamed as just testimonial card in both of these variants, will have different content. So since we had set up variables for the card, I mean the headline, the statement, the image, the title, I just edited that stuff on the testimonial card in the second variant of this component, so that when we slide through them, you will just see different testimonials. I hope that's easy to understand. So what I'm going to do is just the same thing for 4 different testimonials. So again, I'm going to go here, Command D, and this is going to give me a third variant. I'm going to call it testimonial 3, and just go inside here and change this stuff, and this will be a whole new testimonial. So let me do that quickly. Let me set up 4 different testimonials, and then I will show you the interactivity in between. Okay, so now I have set up 4 different variants of the testimonial reel component with different contents for the testimonial card that we made earlier. You can see all of the content is generated by AI, by the way. So this is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one, this is the fourth one. All of these have different content, right? What we're gonna do now is we're gonna make it all interactive, so that when the arrows are clicked, you basically slide between different testimonials. So I'm gonna click on this arrow, and I'm gonna drag this connector out and connect it to testimonial 2. This means that when this is clicked, your component will change to the second version. And actually, I want to make this kind of a cycle, so that when the previous button is clicked, you basically go to the last testimonial. So since I don't think I can drag this connector out to that, I'll just actually manually add the click interaction here, transition, and set it to 4. This connects to 4 now. For testimonial 2, what I'm going to do is connect this one, the right one, to testimonial 3, and the left one to testimonial 1. Navigate in between them using these arrows. I will see different testimonials. And let's test it for now in our desktop breakpoint, which we had set up earlier. And I know it's all squished here because the height isn't fixed, but before that, we actually should fix this issue. Now you can see you only see the variables that you had set for the sidebar stuff, right? The section label and the intro and that stuff, but you don't see stuff for each component, for each testimonial, so that if you have wanted to edit the testimonials themselves individually from the breakpoints themselves, then you should be able to do it, right? So for that to happen, you need to go back to your testimonial reel component, and actually you can see that you have variables for each card here, and you're just going to create variables on top of those variables to be able to edit them in your desktop breakpoint like this. So you would do create variable testimonial headline 1, you know. All right, so I've set the variables cleanly for all the testimonials and arrange them in order. Now I'm going to go to the testimonial reel in the component inside my breakpoint and set it to fit content. And since my content container was already set to fit height, it is sitting nicely. Remember, I didn't add any background colors to the testimonial reel itself because I wanted the background to basically give the color. You can if you want to, but I wanted it like this. Since this content frame that I've put the component inside, it has some color, it's, you know, contrasting very nicely with it, and you can see the headline clearly as well, right? Now let's test it. Let me preview this. You can see when I hover upon the arrow, the colors change, and when I click them, you can see on the right hand side the testimonials change because we had different variants both from the right button and the left button. All right, what I also just quickly did is added color variables for everything you see here. So if you do use the remix link provided with this video, you will see all these colors as well. So there you have it, your testimonial reel. There you go. Now you know how to create a minimal and captivating testimonial section for your website. In the remix link down below, you will also find the tablet and the mobile variants that I've made for this component so that this testimonial section is responsive throughout all breakpoints. Also, if you haven't checked out Framer already, please do via the link down below. In my opinion, in 2026, Framer is the best way to set up a website and launch it. If you learned anything of value from this video, kindly like the video and consider following or subscribing depending on the platform that you're watching this video on, because there will be more videos around Framer to come. Check out other videos on this channel. There are tutorials and builds like this and some business insights related to Framer as well. If you have any feedback and thoughts to share, please do that in the comments down below. And if you want to reach out personally, you can do that through my X account, the link for which I will leave in the description if you're watching this video on YouTube. That's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.